Hello, hello. It is Thursday at 12:30, so we are here together. I am Dr. Stephanie Fine, and I am so happy to be talking to you today. So it's Thursday, and what we do is we go into depth on the topic of the ounce of prevention, which hopefully you've got in your inbox. Every Thursday morning, go to stephaniefinemd.com, and you can sign up right there. You get just a quick little wisdom, and then you pop in here and we go a little deeper. And this is my favorite part because I love chatting about these. As I'm writing those, I always have tons of ideas going on. More things to tell you, more things to tell you. And today's is about the concentrated pleasure that processed food is designed to give you. Now, when I talk about processed food, I go into a little more depth in the ounce of prevention, but we're talking about concentrated sugar and concentrated flour. So they're powders, and it's similar to, if you can think of it, it's something that's concentrated. So normally when you have, like heroin is from poppy seeds. If you ate a poppy, it wouldn't do much to you. But if you concentrate it, I don't know how to make heroin, but I imagine it's something concentrated, you end up with a powder that is super addictive. So that way of thinking about sugar and flour is an important it's an important thing to consider. It does not mean you can never have sugar and flour again. For some people it does. It actually does, but I don't think that's everybody. And you get to figure that out for yourself. But it absolutely triggers the brain in a way that you crave it. So once you have some sugar, candy, you want more. I'm sure you have had that experience. It's like, not only do you want more immediately, but then you want more again the next day and the next day. And what happens with this concentrated pleasure is it's an immediate reward, and your brain is literally seeking more of it. It perpetuates itself. And I'll tell you for certain that the food industry knows this, and they work on it. So they get more sugar in there, or higher concentration, or whatever it is, the combination of fat and sugar, so that it's really a little bit out of your control. It feels like it's you. It feels like, well, I just want some sugar. Yes, that is what it feels like. But do you need it? You don't need it. We need fuel. We need fuel for our body, but vegetables, fruits, proteins can all give you that. So this idea of the processed stuff being designed to get you hooked. So it's, a lot of people think they just have, poor willpower or whatever. That's really not the point at all. It's these things make your brain crave them. Now, obviously in degrees. Heroin is way up high. Alcohol for some people is up high, that kind of thing. But sugar and flour, absolutely. And for some people, it's close to an addiction. So I want you to be aware of this idea, because here's what happens then. So some people can find themselves then in craving, so they're craving, then they're trying to deal with the craving. I don't want it, I shouldn't have it, maybe I'll have it tomorrow. Okay, then where am I going to get it, and how much, and if I get too much, I'll eat the whole thing. So then you're plotting the getting. Then you have it, and then you're sort of in a blissful state for a very short amount of time. I mean, honestly, how much pleasure do you get out of the candy in terms of time? Like, you eat it, and for some people it's over right after you eat it, because the guilt is right there. So then you have guilt, and then you have plotting and planning about how, okay, I'm not going to eat the rest of the day, and if I exercise some more, and then then your brain is stuck figuring out the calorie counts and how you're going to do it and what you're going to do. So you have now you've had this much joy and pleasure, and you've spent tons of time, literally of your brain energy on the craving and the guilt. That does not sound like a good plan. That sounds like that's a bad setup. That is not what we want. So this is why it's so challenging. Our brain gets involved. Our brain is triggered, and it's because of the concentrated joy. And we can handle grapes. I will say I have overeaten grapes. in my life, but it's nothing compared to how many peanut M&Ms I can get in. So that's the piece that matters. And also, I may feel a little guilty for overeating grapes, but nothing like a whole, bags of peanut M&Ms. It's just not the same. Also, how you physically feel is different after grapes than after a huge thing of peanut M&Ms. Ugh. At this point in my life, physically, I feel terrible after a lot of sugar. So anyway, all these things have to be taken into account because it's not like you get to have sugar with no consequence. It'd be nice. That'd be nice. And if that happens for you, bless you, you're doing things right. If you don't have the craving and planning and plotting and then guilting and all that stuff, then you are one of the lucky ones, and good for you. So with all that energy, one of my very favorite stories is this sweet woman who I adore who lost a lot of weight, and she noticed this whole idea of how much brain space she had left. I mean, truly, you can think about it. When you're not planning and craving and feeling cruddy about the craving and highs and lows and all that stuff, and then you're not feeling guilty about what you've eaten and all the rest of that stuff, you have time. And this is my favorite. She got an MBA. Like, that's how much time, brain space. Like, it's amazing. Didn't have an MBA before, lost weight, got free in her brain, got an MBA. That is literally the type of thing you can do. That's an enormous accomplishment. That's a life changer. I mean, and that's the kind of thing I want for you. I want there to be accomplishment, desire, of things that you're building. That's where we're going with this. So start thinking about joys, food joys versus other joys, and see which one is worth it. That's really what I'm saying. And then also think about what you would do with all that time. Wouldn't that be, that's a lot of time. What would you dream of? What would you do? Well, this is the first part. Next week, we're going to talk a little bit more about it. And it's one of my favorite topics. I love it. Well, I talk about that. I love maintenance and weight loss and how we're doing this. So I just love talking about all that. So come on over to StephanieFineMD.com, sign right up there, and I will see you next week. Have a really good one.